Katie and I are going to show you some tips for putting on some makeup for recitals and photo shoots. So we have a bunch of makeup here and we use a few different kinds of brands, but really finding the right brand is just figuring out what works for you. The first step is going to be applying foundation. You're going to want to pick a foundation that is a shade lighter than the natural skin tone, and you're just going to apply it all over your face or all over your child's face. We like to start in the T-zone and just work from there. And then we spread down into the cheeks. Make sure we get underneath the nose, all over. And an important part is to spread down along the jawline, working down into the neck. This is especially important when you're using a foundation that's a shade darker than your child's skin tone, because otherwise it doesn't blend properly and it can look a little funky. Another important spot is over the eyelids, because when you move on to doing eyeshadow, this can help keep that eyeshadow on there longer. And a spot that you can choose to do, and I like to choose to do, is right on the lips. I like to dab just a little bit on there. It'll help keep the lipstick on there just a little bit longer, which is important during shows and during recitals. All right, once you've got the foundation set, it's a good time to move on to eyeshadow. I like to take a nice big brush. Her eyes are little, so this is a little smaller than I would normally use on myself. But I like to take a nice big brush, and you're going to have a palette that is, these colors are going to be similar to what you would use in a show. But for a recital, you're going to apply just a little lighter. I'm going to take a pinker color, close your eyes, Kate, and you're going to apply all over the lid. Just like that. So it's just nice and natural. You can make sure it's nice and thick, a little bit thicker than you would normally put on for everyday wear. In this step, you could use gold if you had a darker skin tone or more olive undertones in your skin. The next thing I would do is I would either take, I use actually a concealer brush for Katie since she has such tiny little features, or you could use one of the little foam applicators that actually come with the eyeshadow for this next step. And you're going to take a brown and you're going to go right inside the crease of the eye. And you're going to highlight that line. Now again, for recitals or photo shoots, you're going to keep this a little bit lighter than you would for a show. The next step is highlighting, and this time I do like to use that foam applicator. And this time we go right up underneath of that brow. Just a nice little highlight. And I'll blend that just a little bit with my finger. Perfect. Next is going to come mascara. This is one of Katie's least favorite parts, and it's the eyelash curler. But she does pretty well. You ready? Good job. Open. Like a pro. And the mascara. We like to use a volumizing mascara, or you can use a lengthening mascara, whatever you think works best for you. But black is the key. Black, black, black mascara. We'll come back and put a second coat on in just a second. Let's take a look. Looking pretty good there, Cupcake. Now, sometimes Katie will have a little bit of a red nose from cold season or allergy season, or little red eyes for the same thing, and I like to use just a little bit of concealer right underneath her eyes, and I'll just put a little bit right there. But only if we need it. A little bit more mascara. And look up, some for those bottom lashes too. Now, one very important thing is the blush. The pinker, the better. Always very pink blush. Katie's gotten pretty good at applying this, so you can see her smile right away. Right on the apples of the cheeks. And then right under the cheekbone, just along the hollows, just a little bit. And then a nice dusting of powder for the whole thing. And then the finishing touch is going to be a nice bright red lipstick. Not a scarlet or not too blue. You don't want anything too brown. Just a nice bright red. Now this is sometimes optional, but more often than not, this is going to be included. So it should definitely be in your makeup kit all the time. I also find sometimes, especially if you're not used to putting lipstick on your child, that a red lip liner is very helpful. And make sure it is a long wear lipstick, because they will smear it. Perfect. And there you go. Perfect recital makeup. Thanks, Katie.